Is judging and criticism a painful part of your life? If so, this Hatha Yoga class is for you. Hi, I'm Melissa with Yoga with Melissa, and this is real yoga for real people. Yoga you can do so you can feel better, move better, and connect with your true nature. In a culture that wants us to do more, be more, and consume more, this is deeply transformational Hatha Yoga that invites us to bring self-awareness and self-acceptance to the earth that we inhabit. I put out a new 1-hour yoga class every single Friday, so if you're new here, welcome. And be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single class. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you like about it in the comments. We're down on the beach today, and so there was just a boat that went by, and so we're getting some waves crashing in. If you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious today and you're finding the spoken teachings just too much for you right now, causing you more stress, then feel free to press that mute button and just follow along visually until you're feeling less stressed and overwhelmed and anxious. That's completely fine way to follow along with the classes. I have a testimonial for you today from Valeria from my website. And she was one of many of you that I heard from last week. It seems like that class on anger really struck a chord and resonated with many of you last week. She said, "Dear Melissa, it's been almost 4 years since I found you." And I've been hearing this from a lot of people lately too, how long you've been following these classes. So I really appreciate your loyalty and your long-term commitment to this lineage and this practice of yoga. Right after episode 101, I searched for something more specific and soon hit the target at the time of finding episode 102, Yoga of Emotions, Anger. After all these years, I've always wanted to leave my testimonial for you, but knew there would be just the right time. And so here I am, right after experiencing another episode on the same theme. However, with a different approach, and it was quite a different approach, one I think much more in alignment with my true values. As you say, well, I didn't say, but Jack Kornfield said, experiencing anger is a part of being human, but having experienced it hard these days, I was feeling guilty and rebuked, as in the poem that I read last week. Once again, your light has reached me, and as I set my intention during the class, I found out now I can accept the experience of feeling anger, knowing the balm will come and cease the flame and ease the pain. Once again, thank you very much for sharing your best. It always reaches me deeply. With gratitude, Valeria. So thank you so much, Valeria, for taking the time to leave that beautiful comment on my website. And thanks to all of you who take the time to leave your testimonials and comments on YouTube, by email, on my website, on Facebook, Instagram, and iTunes. And as always, the most in-depth conversations happen in our membership community. Thanks to Squeeze Yoga Clothing for my clothes today. I'm wearing long black leggings with the Om Mani Padme Om around the ankle, and I'm wearing a red bamboo hoodie with the Om on it. And thanks to Dusky Leaf for our props today, you're going to need a bolster and 2 blocks. And we're going to begin today with our mantra. So bring your hands together at your heart center. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvina Vadita Mastu Mavidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So that mantra means protect us together, student and teacher. May our studies nourish us together. May we be protected together. May we work together for the union of the good of all. May our studies be luminous and purposeful. May we live in harmony. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Okay, we're going to begin today with the bolster behind our back and in Supta Baddha Konasana, recline bound angle pose, with one hand on our belly and one hand on our heart center. So let's take a few moments to feel into our bodies, to connect to our bodies. Feel the soles of your feet together, all your toes touching, the balls of your feet touching, the arches of your feet where they lift away, your heels touching. Become aware of your shin bones and your calves, your knees resting on the blocks or the cushions, your inner thighs, your buttocks resting on the ground, your hand on your belly, your hand on your heart center, your shoulders draping over the bolster, dropping towards the ground, your chest opening, your hand on your heart center, and your head resting on the bolster. And then switch your hands and just notice how that feels with your hands the other way. So as Jack Kornfield says, for many of us, judgment is a painful theme in our lives, judging ourselves and judging others. And our reaction to it is to see what is wrong with it. And then the judging itself continues to be strong and painful. You're going to draw your knees towards each other. And roll to your side, roll your bolster off to the side. And we're going to hug our knees into our chest now. If you have any knee issues, hold on behind your knees. But otherwise, you can hug your knees in like this. And think about it being like giving yourself a hug here. So you're tenderly embracing yourself here. Okay, and then you're going to release that down, and we're going to roll to your side, and we're going to come over and come into pigeon pose. So come up onto all fours. And from all fours, you're going to bring your right knee forward. And if you have any knee issues, you could stay on your back and do figure four pose. Reach your left leg back and long. And then you're going to fold forward over your bent right leg. And then come upright. Let's just do a little bit of release for your spine. Just do a little bit of cat pose here. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Trying to get rid of judging is another judgment in and of itself. We notice our judging, and then we say to ourselves, I shouldn't be judging. And that's more judgment. We judge ourselves. We have standards of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. Let's come into pigeon on the other side. So this time you'll take your left knee forward to your left wrist. Take your right leg back and long. If there's space between your left buttocks and the ground, fill it with a cushion or a blanket, and then fold forward over your bent left leg. Remember, you can take this on your back. You can do sleeping pigeon instead. And then we'll come upright and let's come into lunge pose. So you're going to come up onto your knees, and we'll start by walking your left leg forward. You could use your blocks for this. I'm going to use my blocks just to try and take some of the pressure off my knees on these rocks. So step your left leg through, lean into lunge pose. So on Tuesday of this past week, I went on what Tim would call a bender of judgment, and it was remorsefully directed mostly at the ones that I love the most in this world. And then on Wednesday, I woke up full of regret and remorse. So Tuesday, the judgment was directed towards Tim and Trinity, and Wednesday, the judgment was turned and directed towards myself. I was full of self-criticism and self-loathing for all the judgment that I had directed outwards. Okay, let's come upwards and come into a twist. So turn towards your bent left leg. And then come back to the center. We're going to switch sides. I'm going to try and switch up my mat a bit so this is a little less painful. So this time you're going to walk your right leg through and lean into lunge pose. So Jack Kornfield says to understand the judging mind, we need to touch it with a forgiving heart. Jack Kornfield says to become fully conscious, we must allow each difficult state we have rejected, including our judging mind, to come back into our heart. And then press into your front foot, and we'll come into the twist on this side. And then come back to the center. And I am really grateful the kneeling part of this class is over, let me tell you. Oh my God. We're going to spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes under, come into downward facing dog. And then from here, you're going to make your way up to standing. From standing, we're going to do a couple of variations on Eagle's pose. The way we're going to do it today is you're going to put your feet together and you're going to sit back. So still a balancing pose because you're narrowing your base of support. And then you're going to give yourself a hug. So instead of doing full Eagle's arms, you're going to give yourself a hug here and sit back. So my teacher, Reggie Ray, would say it differently than Jack Kornfield. Instead of coming into your heart, he would say when self-judgment comes up, we need to come fully into our bodies and be present with what's happening and what's arising in our lives at the moment. Reggie Way would say that self-criticism is a way of avoiding what is arising in the present moment. And so that when self-criticism and judgment comes up, that it's an opportunity for us to come back into our bodies and to realign ourselves with what is actually arising in the present moment. Let's just switch the arm that's on top. And then come up to standing. You're going to stand at the top of your mat now. And we're going to do a version of peaceful warrior. So we're going to take a big step back with your right foot. And take your arms straight up. Take your right arm back, and you're going to lean back, so you're allowing the judgment to be present. So what Reggie Ray says is that when self-criticism comes up, it's completely out of alignment with our version of what we think is acceptable for ourselves. And then let this pose out of your body and come and stand at the top of your mat. So sometimes the things that are coming up in our lives are very painful. Judgment, rage, and anger. These things are completely inconsistent with our image of ourselves, and they're completely out of alignment with our self-image. When we feel anger and rage and judgments, our beliefs about who we are as a person are being called into question. And it's painful and destabilizing and threatening. And then slowly come up to standing. And take a step back with your left foot. Bring your arms straight up. Drop your left arm back and lift your heart. And then let this fall out of your body and come up towards the top of your mat again. And come into a standing forward fold. And then we're going to come from here. You're going to sit down on your mat and we're going to do cow's face pose. So you'll cross your left leg over your right leg, and you can put a cushion underneath your buttocks if there's space between your buttocks and the ground. Okay, from cow's face pose, we're going to come into a twist. So you're going to twist one side, doesn't matter which side, we're going to twist to both sides. And then we're going to twist back to the center, and we'll twist to the other side. So you're going to take your other hand to the outside of your knee. And then come back to the center. Take your hands behind you and just gently lift your heart. So press your fingertips into the ground and lift your chest. And then you're going to lower one arm down, side bend to one side. And then come back to the center, side bend to the other side. And then come up and you're going to forward fold here. When we judge ourselves, and Reggie explains that this is a discursive way of jumping to conclusions about what is coming up for ourselves. We start spinning. Our thoughts start spinning. And this thinking and spinning is a way of avoiding what is actually happening for us. And what is being asked when judging is happening for us is to come back into our bodies. We just need to be present to what is happening now. So you're going to come upright and you're going to switch your legs. We're going to do that whole sequence on the other side. So you're going to start with the twist. And then twist to the other side. There's a boat going past right now. And then come back to the center, take your fingertips behind you and just gently press into the ground and lift your chest. And then you're going to side bend. And side bend to the other side. And then fold forward on this side. So Reggie Ray says the tendency to judge ourselves is simply all the ways that we avoid the direct experience of life itself. And instead, our teachers, the teachers that we were speaking about today, Reggie Ray and Jack Kornfield, ask us to be kind to ourselves, to be generous with ourselves, and let go of judging ourselves. And then you're going to come upright and you're going to go ahead and lie down on your backs for Shavasana. So since you have a bolster with you today, you can take that bolster and put the bolster underneath your knees. And go ahead and lie down in Shavasana. And you might want to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And just check in again like we did at the beginning. You started with your hands one way. And you might want to switch it and just notice that your hands might just have a feeling of rightness one way or the other. So you're going to stay here in Shavasana to receive and integrate your practice. And I'm going to sit up and read you a poem. This is one of my all-time favorite poems, and I think it's probably one of your favorite poems too. I'm not the only one that has this as a favorite poem. It's called Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are coming home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers its imagination, calls you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. So reflect on this class and how it relates to you and your life. I just keep hearing Reggie Ray saying, "Don't judge." That's how he says it. Don't judge. Don't do it. One thing about Reggie, I like what Brooke Thomas says. One thing about Reggie is he doesn't mix his words. So see what stands out for you, your experience. What's one small thing you're going to take with you off your mat and into your life? And then gradually deepen your breath, wiggle your fingers. Bend your knees and roll to your side. Slowly make your way up to seated for our mudra. You can sit on a block, or you can kneel on a block, or you can sit in a chair, whatever works best for you today. And we're going to do a Mushitka mudra. It's a mudra to loosen judgment and self-criticism. The way that it works is you take all your fingers and you put them into the pads of your hands, and then you take your thumbs and line them up against each other and bring the knuckles of your hands together. And then you rest it against your heart. And you imagine that you're holding in the palms of your hands that most precious jewel. And that precious jewel is your truest self. And you're going to sit with your spine straight, your ears back over your shoulders, and close your eyes. So this mudra weakens self-judgment, self-criticism, and self-doubt. And I have one last quote for you today as you sit with this mudra. Reggie Ray says, "We have to take the risk on ourselves. We have to be willing to be a person that according to our judgments should not exist. We have to be willing to be the person that according to our judgments should not exist." Let's transition to our closing mudra with your left palm up, your right palm down. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. So, if you found something of value in this class, in connecting with your own judgment of self or others, please press that like button and let me know what part of the teachings in the comments were most valuable to you. And if you know somebody else for whom this class could be valuable, please feel free to share it with them. I just realized in sitting here in meditation at the end that I didn't take the time to gather up all my donators this week because, well, there's no because really for that. But I did actually was planning the class, and then we were needing to get out here to film it before Tim needs to get off to soccer. But I was just reflecting about how grateful I am to all of you to be completely supported by all of you for this class. Because you support us through your donations and through our membership community, we can completely create the kind of content that we feel is most appropriate. We don't have to create content that our sponsors or YouTube thinks that we should be creating. So this is a very good position to be in as a spiritual teacher, that I can create content that is ethical and authentic. And that's all down to you. That's because we've always been supported by you, our donators, and by you, our members of our membership community. And I was thinking too, I also didn't kind of think about how this class connected to our membership community, except for that, every week on Mondays, our members meet in the live classes, and it's there that I have that support of the most dedicated and committed members of our community come together and really go into the teachings in quite a deep way. And again, I was feeling that immense gratitude for a community that really supports these teachings in a very deep and profound way. And again, how I don't have to sell out. I don't have to teach yoga for weight loss. I don't have to teach yoga for bikini body. I don't have to teach yoga for tight buns. But I can teach about more meaningful topics than I have for the past 8 years, and that is all down to you and your support. So thank you so much for that. It means the world to me, and don't think I don't think about that every single morning when I get up and every night when I go to bed. Is that an eagle? No, airplanes. Okay, so thank you so much. We appreciate your support immensely. It means the world to us. That is an airplane. A seaplane. I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. On the Straits of Juan de Fuca here. May your joy be as deep as our Pacific Ocean. May you be as grounded as the trees in our forest. And may you be as strong as our mountains. Om Shanti. Namaste. Letting go of self-judgment. Yes. That one made it to the water. You're not filming me throwing rocks.